Got ourselves a 7-game NBA slate today, 6 of which are on DraftKings. We're doing what we always do here on the Splash Play NBA channel. We're going to find you the goddamn must play. Should always do some sacrilege up top. We're going to find you the must plays. We're looking at my projections, compare them to Stokastic, one of the industry leaders out there. Look at some ownership along the way. We're also going to hop to the world of Unabated, our presenting sponsor of this show. Did I pull up the Chiron? Yeah, I've won this much money at one point in my life. We also going to hop to the world of Unabated, check out the best bets. We're going to sim some DFS lineups. It's Friday, guys. You'll know the must plays, yada, yada, yada. Q tags on this slate. There's a lot of them. Giannis Antetokounmpo wrote this up for the DraftKings Network before the show. Looking at unabated conditional NBA projections if you want to see more about it. Basically, Giannis a Q tag right now. Unabated thinks there's a 50% chance to play. We just saw the other day him getting late scratched. So it's really an important one to watch out for because, frankly, that slate the other day would have been completely different if we knew in advance that Giannis was out and that Bobby Portis and Damian Lillard were key plays to have. Same situation again here today. Arguably even more important because we're facing the Hawks. So Giannis is going to be a chalky play if he's in, and if he is out, it matters an incredible amount for the slate. And for what it's worth, that game does tip off at 7:30. So you would hope you know it by lock, but there's a chance that it could drag out and go right to like 7 o'clock. And that would be very annoying, but not surprising given the NBA. Kevin Durant, not on the main DraftKings slate, but he's a Q tag today. LaMelo Ball, he matters quite a bit because the Hornets are down a lot of guys. Dalton Connect may be going for them today. We will see. Cade Cunningham, Kyle Kuzma, another Milwaukee Buck Q tag. A lot of the trade guys questionable. A lot of them have also been ruled out. We'll try to talk about that all as we go. Bradley Beal, another Sun. Malcolm Brogdon, who did not get traded somehow. He's a Q tag as well. Check the chats real fast here. Got what? Oh, yeah. Well, there we go. We're giving sacrilege up top. We're not bringing out the puppet. That is a special thing only. And yeah, whatever. And why would we be mean to somebody who's one of my friends? Don't be mean to Josh. I don't know what. You did call people morons a few too many times for my liking in chat. And trust me, I'd love to call people morons sometimes, but I think he maybe went a little bit extra on that. But yeah, like, whatever. Why be mean to Josh? People are so shitty to Josh on the internet. He takes it better than I do, but don't be mean to Josh. And yes, I'm the Joe Hendry of the DFS space, except that I have a lot less virality, a lot less tweets too, a lot less tweets begging to be a part of like GTA and Fortnite. Like, calm down, Joe Hendry. Calm down. But shout out all you guys hanging out here. Appreciate you being live. Let's get into it. As we always do, starting with the top projected players in the slate. According to my data, Giannis right now, my top guy, 16.4 is my projection, about 0.4 higher than Stokastic. No Chris Middleton here, even with Kyle Kuzma potentially playing. He's in the projection set right now. Giannis looks like a key play to have here. Main things are you're playing Atlanta, very high total as well. Highest total on the slate for this game is Milwaukee, Atlanta. Would say that in terms of Giannis playing, again, writing it up for the DK Network, I ran the unabated sims, writing up that article today. Seems like with how much EV there would be on an over for Damian Lillard and over for Bobby Portis, or not Bobby Portis, Brooke Lopez, if Giannis were out, kind of think Giannis plays based off that. Usually the EV is not so far off if the guy's actually gonna, not gonna play. So I guess a better way to put that. So I think that for the most part with Giannis in the spot, really, he's a great play if he's in. Great play is going to be everybody else on the team if he's out. It's sort of how it looks for Giannis today in a match versus Atlanta. I don't call you morons, but I definitely do imply it. Depends on the person. It's the person. Not usually not you, Anthony. You're one of the ones that I would say qualifies for non-moron status. But I think it's the case of pretty much every person who does this content where you either hide it better than guys like Josh does or Davis Maddock does. I'm somewhere on that spectrum as well. That's fortunately how it is. You got to do the same thing in any other job. Like, you deal with people. That's how it is. Josh is an a-hole. It's cool. I don't think he's an a-hole. Josh did call people morons today. I mean, he was right. And he was particularly right about the people he was calling morons. But again, you don't call people morons unless they continue to be obtuse, to continue to be lunk-headed when you're trying to you talk about things intelligently or whatever. Then maybe you call people morons. But even then, who am I? Who am I to cast a stone here? Let's watch this show. I think it's the best way for me to say that. Cade Cunningham at number 2, 50.8 is my projection. So Cass got 48.5. As a result, I'm getting him at 20% compared to 11%. So like that for Cade Cunningham, same situation as always. Decent price tag for a guy that's been without Jaden Ivey for a while. And I feel like I haven't fully caught up to the fact that he's a likely guy to put up 50 fantasy points in most spots. So Cade here. For Detroit, the total for them today Got a 112 implied points, technically an underdog against Philadelphia. Weird to see Philadelphia be like a favorite now again, but Joel Embiid likely going here. So Cade Cunningham, on paper, competitive spot versus Philly. He's likely the guy who's got to pull the weight to keep up with a now fully functional, fully staffed Sixers team on their side. So Cade Cunningham, 20% feels pretty good compared to the field's 11. Still not a 5x value though, technically, so keep that in mind. We got Victor Wembanyama. I am low on him today. So I did juke the Spurs rates a little bit because I don't think De'Aaron Fox is going to play the exactly same kind of rate approach that he had in Sacramento. Feels like based on that first game where he had a 45% assist rate in the first spot. Don't think he holds up quite that much, but I wanted to kind of represent his numbers better. So I did boost Fox. I kind of gave Wemby the rates that he had in that first game, gave Chris Paul the same rates, gave Devin Vassell the same rates as well. Because all those guys should come down a little bit as a result of having Fox in the lineup. So Wemby, to me, I would say not a priority play. He certainly can get there. Things will level out more between him and Fox, I believe, as the year goes on. But for right now, I don't feel comfortable getting a ton of Wemby. Not that I would anyway. But 12% for the field. I got 7. That's kind of enough Wemby for me. SGA, 9% for the field, 4% for me. Pretty steep price tag at the 10-7 salary. He has been putting up reliable 50-point days lately, so if you want to chase SGA, he's probably your lowest owned pay-up option here amongst these guys. Joel Embiid's really chalky here. I did my same thing, my usual remedy to try to fix Joel Embiid and how he's played this year in fantasy-wise and how my data works, where Embiid just doesn't look good unless I give him last year's rates and just kind of let them rock. I gave him last year's rates, still only got him to 45.8 fantasy points because you have a very competent Tyrese Maxey. He's been good this year, has had 31% usage on the year, 29% assist rate, 1.2 fantasy points per minute. You have Paul George in as well, 25% usage, 23% assist rate. Definitely not as much of a key part of the offense as a guy like Maxey is, but still in this spot. I think that for me, Joel Embiid's an easy fade. So Field's going to be there a lot. Obviously, that can move around a little bit based upon the guys who are available. Stokastic hasn't updated their data yet. That's to reflect all the stuff that moved around. I had to kind of shift some minutes around and stuff like that on my own. But for Joel Embiid, I think he is a chalky play right now that I'd be low on here. I'm having 5 fantasy points lower, about 5.5 actually. So Joel Embiid is directly a fade for me today, but still getting him in 9% of lineups, so not a flat fade. Only people who snipe, you call morons, people snipe you in basketball. It's fair. I mean, look, I could call anybody a moron if I want. I just say, like, for me, it wouldn't be my personal choice for the first insult. I have almost called people other things on the chat. So, I mean, again, I'm not without blame. Josh the best. There you go. I agree with that first part. And the dude that comes in here with this my source crap and is wrong every time, you can hold the moron tag. Yeah, he got one right one time. But yeah, that's the thing. It's really more, I think my metric for moronality would be like, how do you confidently say things that I know are wrong? It was really one of my first tests. I would say for that. When I see people doing that, I'm like, well, all right. We can kind of file that away. But, you know, it depends also, too. Do you want to learn? Do you want to get better? I think that's always the goal for humanity, hopefully. We got Miles Bridges, again, well projected for me again here today. I've got him at a 45.5 projection, a little bit higher than that. Stokastic has him at 41. Basically the same thing as always with Bridges, except you have a questionable LaMelo Ball in. If LaMelo Ball is out, I think it's wheels up for Bridges. The match for Bridges today, I think not quite as bad as last time out versus Milwaukee, but still not really a great one on paper versus Charlotte. They're an 11-point dog at home, 10.5 technically. So Miles Bridges, he's going to be the spot again where if he's going to keep this team competitive, it's probably on his back. If he sucks and LaMelo Ball's out especially, it's probably just not going to get there. The Hornets probably get blown out. So that's how Miles Bridges is for me again here. Minutes got weird for him last game. Still trust him a lot here if you do get LaMelo out. If LaMelo's in, this 14% ownership feels like more than enough for me. LaMelo at a 10-1 salary coming back from injury. He's a Q tag right now. I'm not sure that he goes, honestly. But at this point for LaMelo Ball, 5% ownership. I got him at 2.7. Not a big stand there. Damian Lillard, the field's already getting, even with Giannis in, 29% for the field. I got him at 19%, even though he only projects for 43 fantasy points. There aren't a lot of screaming values amongst the pay-up options, really the main thing. So I am not getting a big, strong feeling for Lillard here, but still getting him in 19% of my lineups, which is technically under the field. Things are going to move around, though, I would assume, as the data moves around throughout the day as we get closer to lock. And nothing else to note too much here. I think this guy's going to come up in the value area, but Okongwu, as a result of having Hunter out and having Jalen Johnson out, his rates take an enormous jump up. So I'm going to have a very big pro Okongwu stand today that I'm sure will end up as one of our splash plays of the day. Let's sort by value now. Let's see what we got here. Here's what we got. We got Ty Jerome. The world's foremost Ty Jerome expert. Much like a meteorologist, I declare it to be a Ty Jerome day. He'll lick my finger, hold it up to the wind. Yep, Ty Jerome is it today. Ty Jerome looking pretty good in this spot. You have no Karis LeVert. Really a short shrift Cleveland team that I think only has like 10 guys available overall. You have 10 guys available because they're not going to have their trade acquisitions available today. Some other teams, those guys are questionable right now. DeAndre Hunter already ruled out. Whatever else they have has already been ruled out. So as a result, Ty Jerome projected to play 27.6 minutes by Stokastic today. When you count for the matchup, they're facing Washington, very high team total. Ty Jerome feels like a smash spot to me, getting those backup guard minutes in a game too that could get out of hand. And you have Craig Porter Jr. that if like the game gets really out of hand, maybe you pull Ty Jerome. Craig Porter Jr. sees a little bit more comfortable run earlier on. But yeah, playing Washington, you're the backup, going nuts. Yeah, that's it. Sam Merrill's out as well. Ty Jerome's a monster. And yes, Ty Jerome's game has improved. To be clear, it's improved this year, and that's part of why he really became my sweet boy. But he has also been like a good fantasy player for honestly years now whenever he's had a shot. Back to his Phoenix days, maybe other stops besides that. Anyway, really big stand on Ty Jerome right now. If more value opens up, like let's say Bobby Portis becomes a play because Giannis is out, Ty Jerome will come down a little bit naturally, I think, at that $4,700 price tag. But I legit have him at 35 fantasy points. So love Ty Jerome here. He is a splash play. File it away for later on in the video. Richaun Holmes, Q tag on him right now. I would love to see Richaun Holmes not play today because the guy behind him, Tristan Vukovic, is like a legit kind of gonna get some usage, gonna get some rebounds, a little bit of everything center. Holmes, though, if he's in, looks like a pretty good play overall. Right now, the projection set doesn't have Malcolm Brogdon in. Brogdon's a Q tag right now. If he plays, he won't really affect the big man minutes, but will affect the production a little bit, how points get distributed, how assists get distributed. Less so rebounds for Brogdon, but he still grabs a few. Point being, though, is like Holmes projects really well right now. I would say, though, that if you get a Vukovic start, he's averaging 1.03 fantasy points a minute with about 25% usage, 12% rebound rate, 14% assist rate. One of those, I say for like a guy like Şengün, mini Jokic, we're talking about for Vukovic with how those numbers look. We're talking like mini Jokic, but like a little bit of everything as a center. If you give him good run here, and if Holmes is out, there's nobody else to play those minutes that's available. I think that's really important to note. So Holmes, good play if he's in, but Vukovic still live as a pivot. If Holmes is out, Vukovic, lock button. I think at his salary, he's 3K center only, but yeah, Vukovic should be a lock button play, I think, if Holmes are out. Alex Len, not available. No, he's on the injury report, is out. We got Jonathan Mobo. So the Raptors, no Jakob Poeltl again today. You also have for them a traded Kelly Olynyk. As a result, Mobo's expected to get pretty big minutes. Toronto's shorthanded overall. RJ Barrett also out for the team. A few other guys who are out. Their trade acquisition, Brandon Ingram, not available either. So we'll see if he comes back at some point. But Jonathan Mobo projected to get about 26 minutes by Stokastic. Should be the starter here, and he's power forward center. He's a really strong play at 3,100. So Mobo, 42% for me, 26% for the field right now. Preschool Jokic, yes. Mini, the little toddler Jokic running around. OKC going to be dangerous? They will with Chet back. If I do deeper dive before lock, with Eric, Jordan should play me or list me as a master of puppets. I'm only really a master of one puppet. And I would frankly say I'm not a master. I can't like throw my voice. I think that would really puts me over the top. Dalton Connect, not on the slate, but he is in the projection set because that's how it has to work for me to have Charlotte's data look correct. If Dalton Connect were to play and have a reasonable salary, I'm projected for 22 fantasy points and 26 minutes. He's probably going to play like the most bootleg version of Brandon Miller, getting shots up on the wing. So Connect, if they add him to the slate and he's cheap enough in play, but I don't think DraftKings is going to add him to the slate. What's more likely is like he's going to be a part of the game, I would guess, with his Q tag. We'll see. Assuming he plays, like Dalton Connect looks like an okay play. But again, only where he's available. He's not available on DraftKings main slate right now. Justin Champagny, I think, gets a little bit of a minutes boost overall at 3,100. Got him in 9% of my lineups. It's like a pretty good value. Grady Dick, we have as an okay value again. So it is another Dick full day, 4,300. Grady Dick, we've seen Dick go up and down a good amount lately on slates. He's been in tournament winning lineups. He's also bombed as, not bombed, but like not been great as a value some other days. So I don't mind going him. I got him at 23% of my lineups. If there's better value that opens up, I would love to be there. I would rather get to Ty Jerome, as you can see by my ownership and certainly my enthusiasm. But once again for Toronto here, somebody's got to get points. If they somehow hang in versus OKC and push this to like a fourth quarter stint, it's probably because Grady Dick got going a little bit. It's probably because Quickly distributed well. Barnes played decently. Maybe Boucher got hot. But like basically, if they hang in there versus OKC are they still a 19-point dog? They've been fluctuating between 19 and 19 and a half. The OKC is a 19-point favorite at home versus Toronto. If they keep that within range at all, it's probably because Grady Dick had an okay day. If not him, somebody else there did. That's like a huge spread. Somebody's going to have to outperform to kind of keep that game remotely close if they can. Strother was not a good play yesterday, unfortunately, which I softed so much Strother as well. Toughest part of these shows, he was like, I'll have really good plays. I mean, hopefully, I think I usually feel like I'm talking about stuff that I'm like, this play ended up being good, and I end up swapping his shit, and it's like, well, this wasn't as good. That's unfortunately the nature of NBA. You have to swap because that's your biggest shot at expected value, and frankly, to even be competitive in terms, you have to do it. But on a slate like yesterday, I just didn't get LeBron. I had so much Jokic, like it just wasn't meant to be for me, even though I had good lineups around it. It's kind of a bummer. Okongwu here, a lot of ownership for me, 57% compared to the field 17. His rates really jump off without Hunter and Jalen Johnson. I forget if I put Bogdan Bogdanovic in this rate sample size, but he's had 580 possessions, averages 1.3 fantasy points per minute without those guys. Dyson Daniels also takes a pretty big jump up as well in usage and assist upside. Trae Young stays flat. So Okongwu to me, I think is your big winner Capella's still out number one. The second part of it is now you have Hunter not being in there, and Hunter's been about a 25% usage rate guy on the year. So you're losing about a quarter of the possessions that were going his way. Okongwu gains from that, I think. So it's 6,300. He's a priority player for me today. 29 minutes is projection from Stokastic. Bilal Coulibaly looking like a priority as well. Minutes for Washington could move around with Brogdon if he is going to play today. But that's it for Coulibaly, gaining a good amount here rate-wise from having Kyle Kuzma out. More minutes as well. So Coulibaly, I think a good play here. In a spot with Washington, as we talked about, where they need all the scoring they can get. And that's it. Bub Carrington really chalky as well. He's going to get more minutes, it would seem. Still not a great producer, but 3,300. I have him at 27%. The field's at 47, but early ownership looks like a lot of chalk for Carrington. Not quite sold on that. Let's go to the game-by-game view here. Love Coulibaly. He's been a point forward. He's also been really good at contributing rebounds. Rebounds sometimes, steals and blocks, though, other times. He does a little bit of everything. I've liked Coulibaly. I've said it before. There was one slate where I had to choose between him and Sarr and was like, Coulibaly is a little bit less well projected and going to be less owned. And I was like, I'll take the shot on the less owned guy. Coulibaly put up like 50 in that spot. I think it was when he played the Lakers. He's just been good. I like Coulibaly as well. When you have Kuzma out, I think, frankly, he's a better player than Kuzma at this point. We'll see what Kuzma does in Milwaukee, but at least for Washington, Coulibaly is a better player than Kuzma was. One lineup with Mobo, Diabate, and Vukovic. Well, that's a fun one. Look, hard to dispute for me, Mobo, Vukovic, and Diabate. The price tag's up enough where you're not getting like huge value, but yeah, he's got big opportunities. He could be Mark Williams now. Our pal Josh Eggleman, we've talked about too much of the show, but he's like, oh, Diabate and Mark Williams function the same player, and a lot of this advanced analytics stuff, your Darko projections. I don't see it, but if he is Mark Williams, then he's got a lot of fucking rebounding and scoring and shit to do starting from now on. San Antonio, 120 implied points. Charlotte, 109.5. As I talked about here, gave the rate boost to De'Aaron Fox. As a result, getting him 9% compared to the field's 11, getting Wemby 7% compared to the field's 12. The rates here were giving a boost to De'Aaron Fox. He was a monster in his debut, but the debut, sometimes the guys are, I would say, shy. I don't think a professional basketball player is shy, but like they're almost like deferential in their debut. They let other guys get shots up. De'Aaron Fox, not so much. He had about 27% usage in that game, 43% assist rate, I believe is what I had before. Basically for Fox, just took a lot of possessions away, knocked the other guys down, as you'd expect, because like he's now part of this San Antonio big three that's waiting for the third piece to come in. So Fox, to me, I think you take your tournament shots on again at 8,500. Feels like the governor's off for him, and he's been kind of impeded, I think, by Sacramento and the guys they had there. We got nothing else to note here. Vassell, if you want to fade Fox, play more Vassell, play more Paul, I guess. Play more Wemby. Those guys kind of reclaiming usage is one way to do that. I don't think that's the case here. Like when you pay Fox as much money as you're going to, and he's like one of these kind of tentpole pieces you're building around with Wemby, he's now going to run that castle, and everybody else's usage and assist rate I expect to keep dropping. Chris Paul's dropped in that first game about 10%, which is not a surprise given that like Fox had a 40% plus assist rate. But like it's probably, I would guess it stays like that. I don't think the rates that these guys have had the entire year hold up moving forward. Charlotte on their side has talked about LaMelo Ball's a Q tag. If he is out, KJ Simpson as a value at 4,300 will look more appealing. Dalton Connect, if he's available, will take some off the table. If he's not available, we're talking about a short shrift team here. Josh Green, I forgot, also got downgraded here too. So those minutes have to go somewhere. They kind of need Connect to play with Josh Green, I believe either doubtful or out now. Yeah, so this team is getting kind of shorthanded. You're going to get more Seth Curry minutes, I would guess, more Jeffries minutes because of Green being out. Charlotte's an interesting team, though. If you get LaMelo out especially, I think you want to take some shots at Charlotte. But again, the risk of San Antonio blowing them out, like San Antonio, obviously first game with a new guy in, they playing excited, whatever. They looked like a really strong team to me in that first game. Like I thought that was a team that feels like a top 4 in the West team, even if the results, I'm sure, will not get quite to that level. Cleveland, 128.3 implied points here. We talked about earlier, we got Donovan Mitchell with the probable tag, so nothing we're really worried about in this lineup. All their trade guys not available for today, so DeAndre Hunter not going to muck things up. We talked about the very chalky Ty Jerome. I'm there at 75%. Actually up on Donovan Mitchell today, 19%. A little bit of a rate boost for him because of not having Karis LeVert out there in particular. LeVert kind of holds these guys back a little bit more than it seems. So rate boost for pretty much everybody across the board. Still Mobley, only about 10% ownership. Garland, about 12 and change. Jared Allen, about 10%. Fields higher on some of these guys, whatever. Logically, if you're going to not play Ty Jerome, playing the starters would make more sense because these guys decently projected, decently owned as it is. But the price tags are kind of tough. Ty Jerome at least is under 5K. So like Ty Jerome here, you want a team level pivot, you could go to Strus. There we go. Steven at the exact same time, kind of like Strus today. I mean, that's your pivot, I would say, if you're going to go to Strus over Ty Jerome. They're just totally different players, and Ty Jerome, I think, should be able to nuke here. Like the way that Ty Jerome doesn't get there to me is like a weird one where starters do really well. Ty Jerome doesn't play well his first stint. Second half, starters do well again. Ty Jerome does whatever, and they go, that's enough. Time for Craig Porter Jr. That's where I think Ty Jerome fails. So I would say playing more Garland Mitchell to me would appeal the most, but those guys are really pretty expensive now, 8K plus. Washington here, had to touch these minutes myself, so keep that in mind. It's not going to be as perfect as I think Stokastic will make it when they, or Unabated as well, whatever you're using for your minute source. That said, Jordan Poole, 31% for me, 19% for the field. Bilal Coulibaly, 47% for me, 13% for the field. I have to keep in mind that Stokastic did not have Kuzma updated yet out of Washington, so the ownership here is going to be a little bit lower than it probably should be. Kispert, above the field on him, 9% compared to 5. He's your tournament play on the team. Keyshawn George, 19% for me compared to 23. Rashawn Holmes getting 35% compared to 46 for the field. Vukovic, I talked about, would love to see Holmes out because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. If Vukovic is a 3K minimum salary center that won't get played nearly as much as he should be a 100% play if Holmes is out. As it is, at 8% owned, he's really good leverage against Holmes as well. So, yeah, Vukovic to me, Holmes, everybody's in play on Washington besides even Justin Champagny. I'm getting at 9%. Anthony Gill, I probably wouldn't play. But everybody's in play besides that. Brogdon being in, though, if he is in, is going to muck it up a little bit. Miami, 107.8 implied points. Hope Champagny and Holmes are out. So crystallizes value. It certainly would help out a little bit. I mean, look, Vukovic to me, really just pencil that one in. Much like Tyler Smith last week for Milwaukee. If you just get that to the line correctly, play Vukovic as much as humanly possible. On FanDuel, Jerome and Strus the same price for GPs. Would you go to Strus to fade ownership? I think Ty Jerome to me is just a much better projected play. Let me look at my FanDuel projection real fast. I just got to scroll to a different page here. I will do it for Ryan because I never take his FanDuel questions. And as I say here, I don't play on FanDuel, so I don't love to talk about it unless I have to for the deeper dive. All right. Ty Jerome, I would have at 34.2 FanDuel points, and I would have Strus at, I assume, much lower than that. Strus I would have at 21.2. But yeah, no. It's Jerome like 10 times out of 10. Just get different somewhere else, especially on FanDuel where you can do that. Just get different somewhere else. Okay. We got Miami here. Tyler Hero, 15% for me, 10% for the field. Low on Bam Adebayo. As I've talked about enough times here, I don't get why Adebayo would be 2x the ownership of Kello Ware. It has now happened enough times as well. Adebayo's had some good days. I get it. But like Kello Ware, can always pull from Adebayo. Adebayo's not chalky enough that you should be going out of your way to play Ware, but like I have Ware as a 5.5x value. Adebayo is a 4.8x. I'd prefer to get more Ware. I am getting more Ware in the field, 11% compared to 6. Nikola Jovic playing big minutes lately. I have a 20% ownership today compared to the field's 8, so more than 2x the field. Nothing else stands out. My Terry Rozier fade continues. That's another one. You want to shit on Josh Engelman for something. The audacity of him to say that Ty Jerome and Terry Rozier are similar plays when Ty Jerome has averaged like 0.2, 0.3 fantasy points a minute higher this year. Terry Rozier has been one of the worst players in basketball. You can figure it out at some point. He can spike for a tournament day, but Rozier is just awful. Brooklyn on their side. So Ben Simmons bought out, gave these guys a rate boost for D'Angelo Russell, getting the best version of D'Angelo Russell. That said, nothing here coming up too much, so I'll save some time. Keon Johnson at 5K. Honestly, he's been better this year than I thought he was. Obviously, the game winners a couple games ago against Houston, I believe it was. That was nuts. Really not the kind of player he is with 49% true shooting overall. But really, the big issue for Brooklyn, nobody plays huge minutes, so that's really it. I wouldn't let that be your metric for everything. Like, Frank, I haven't had any huge wins either. It's just like, that's DFS for you. You can play every day and you can put in like, pro DFS level players of money and still not break if you're playing big tournaments. So don't let that be your metric for things, I would say. But yeah, that's my feedback. Somebody who also hasn't taken down a tournament this year. Philadelphia, 116 implied points, especially if you're not playing like crazy outlays. Got to keep that in mind. You have to max out every night, but you got to be putting in money. Philadelphia, 116 implied points here for them. Joel Embiid, 26% ownership for the field. I got him at 9. Nothing else here's coming up. If you want to try to get leverage, Maxey, same price tag as Embiid. We saw Embiid and Maxey both have an outlier day together recently. I think Maxey's okay. But really for Philadelphia, not a priority play for me. Spot versus Detroit seems totally fair. It's just a lot of Embiid ownership, and I don't want to be there. Detroit, we got Cade Cunningham, 20% ownership, Fields at 11. Jalen Duren, 19% compared to 14. Those are your big plays here. I'm above the field on both. Don't mind a spot for Detroit. Don't think Philly's a good enough team necessarily, or at least haven't shown it's going to blow teams off the court. And Detroit's more competitive than people seem. I'd say kind of like your Portland East Coast version. So I like Cade generally, Jalen Duren generally. Not must-haves to me, I think, but guys, it'll be a part of my portfolio, obviously. Milwaukee, 124 implied points here facing Atlanta. Atlanta getting 118.5 implied points. Not a bad total for Atlanta, given the fact that this team is they're not tanking because they have no picks left. But they're certainly not a team that's like good right now and should matter in the East at this point. So Giannis, your Q tag matters so much. It's 7:30 game, as I mentioned earlier. So hopefully you know by lock. If you don't know by lock, you got to be prepared to swap really fast. The good news, you should have enough swappability on the slate, but like getting off Giannis, getting to Portis. If Kuzma's going, I honestly don't know how you handle it because he's been awful on the year and should be a little bit better. Yeah, so that, Jake, I appreciate you. I think most people, especially like I only play the main slate. I don't know. It's tough. Whatever you guys want to do. Follow your heart. You want to be mean to Josh for different reasons, you can. I just don't think you haven't won a GPP this year. If you only play big tournaments, is like a fair metric for most people out there, but that is what it is. Damian Lillard, getting him a good amount here. Will certainly get him infinitely more if Giannis is out. That's how it looks right now. Portis honestly still getting him a decent amount. Middleton being out opens things up a bit. I think your best scenario for like pure DFS upside would be getting Giannis out, getting Middleton not available yet, because then it's just lock and load on Lillard, Portis, Brook Lopez. And if you get some Taurean Prince, get whatever, that's fine. Like Atlanta will not be able to stop these guys. So Giannis looks good if he's in. If he's out, play whatever's left. Kuzma being in, though, mucks it up a little bit for Portis potentially. Okay. He's getting his ass chewed. Is he getting his ass chewed out? I don't think he is. I don't think you think it's like the impact that you think you're having on Josh. What I would warn you about, but follow your heart. Atlanta, 118.5. I didn't know he stirs up this much. He's one of my best friends in the industry. Like he, Pete, Greg, Eric, like those are guys that I've known for a very long time and value. So don't think you'll get me on your side, but more power to you. Believe what you want. We got Trae Young, 9% ownership here. Fields at 1, or Fields at 9%. I'm at 1. That's exactly what I was thinking initially. Like, not for myself. To be clear, I don't want my ass chewed out. I prefer everybody stay away from my ass if possible. Trae Young, 9% ownership. Trae Young, as I've said it enough times here, Jalen Johnson being out just doesn't juke his rates up enough. Bogdan Bogdanovic being out doesn't juke it up enough. The one thing that juked his rates up enough for Trae Young is, in fact, that he just was mad that he didn't get the All-Star game. And that was one day he's actually been really good. But Dyson Daniels gains more. Okongwu, the rates without Hunter and without Jalen Johnson really leaped off the page. Mentioned them earlier, but he's averaging just shy of 1.3 fantasy points a minute. I think that's your low-owned play here. So I'm getting more than 2x the field on Dyson Daniels. Certainly can get some stocks against Milwaukee. If Giannis is out, I would feel more confident in that. But Okongwu, I think, is a good play here. Tough matchup against Milwaukee. You want to get less. That's certainly fair. I'm not as close to Adam. I love Adam too. Most people I've worked with and done shows with, I like Neil. I also like, I don't do concept people I don't like for the most part these days, especially at Stokastic the last few years. Like they'll ask me who I want to do shows with. Like even Bellman, I like Bellman. But like friends is a little bit different. I've known Josh for 7 years now. Like I've known Jake over at Stokastic for 7. I've known a lot of those people for very long periods of time. Toronto 104, and also Joshua Frick here. No, and in fact, you got to mute for that. Get a 5-minute timeout. Don't be needy. That's all I ask. Don't be needy. Toronto on their side, 23% Grady Dick for me. Rest of the field's getting 18%. Josh asks for it every day. I feel like that's down the bit now. So mute Josh Frick a good amount. Scotty Barnes, I have not a lot of here. He's really the one that doesn't gain quite enough from having Barrett out today. But really, Barnes is the one who should benefit from just having a shorter group here. But OKC, look, it's not a great total. OKC is a good team. Barnes is going to be the one where they send the best defense after him. So getting Quickly more, I think, makes sense. Quickly's minutes, though, 23.5 is the projection. You hope at some point he's going to get to like 25 or something, but he hasn't really gotten to that area yet. But 5,700, maybe you can take the shot that he somehow lucks in more minutes today. But I think Grady Dick is the value play for me in the backcourt. Jonathan Mobo, the value play in the front court, 42% for me in our top 150. Compared to the field's 26%. So Mobo, your value play. Not getting Jamal Shed. If you have Quickly in, I don't think Shed's really the play at that point, but he will get all the minutes that Quickly doesn't play. And Davion Mitchell's gone as well for this team. So you're theoretically opening up some minutes, but he's been gone in games anyway. OKC on their side, we got Jalen Williams picking up 20% ownership. I got 17. SGA's picking up 9% ownership. I got 4. It's just a low-owned pay-up option, but not a big stand here for OKC. Honestly, a matchup where they should be able to get what they want, but at a certain point, you never want to project blowouts. 19-point dog is Toronto on the road. Playing the young guys feels better here than playing the older guys. The guys like Ousmane Dieng, who've kind of done a lot of the beating up in OKC blowouts lately, not available. So you're getting a short rotation here. No case on Wallace as well for that team. I do like you. I like you. I've done a show with you. That's not the reason why, though. I don't like you from doing a show with you, but like people I do shows with on the regular is a better way to say that for money, especially. It's the preferred goal. And here's your FanDuel / is there a dog bowl today? I don't know. Whatever game today. Utah and Phoenix. Here's the numbers. Play, guys. Kevin Durant's a Q tag. Beal's a Q tag. If they're out, play Booker more. Everybody looks okay. Let's go to Unabated now. You guys know the deal. We got to look at some conditional NBA projections, see what the best bets are. Of course, the DFS lineup sim coming up as well with just Stokastic data, me not involved in that picture. But let's learn more about Unabated's conditional NBA projections right now. Unabated. So when you are betting with the utmost confidence. I don't know why I said confidence, like I'm trying to fuck you. Confidence. Dynamic projections. Keep DeJounte Murray out. Put Zion in. That's the new rules here. Real-time NBA news. You don't have to be on Twitter. You can just go on Discord, get alerts faster than Underdog and some of the other providers out there do on Twitter. We got some real-time data, of course, and some graphs. Oh, you know those graphs. Sim things out. See beautiful data representations. Of course, like the graphs. Get the chat going here every single day. Expert game day live streams. You know the deal. Everybody loves graphs. Graph me daddy. Graph me daddy is sensual as well. There we go. But check out Unabated again. They are a great sponsor. And actually, well, I'll show you guys after this, but we're going to run our usual bets. They have a great Super Bowl tool as well that I showed the Splash Play NFL channel today. Basically, all the markets of the Super Bowl in one place. They also have their market projections for Super Bowl EV. So lots of great stuff at Unabated. And again, I can't be more clear. If you guys have some money to go around and want to support the show directly, click at Unabated's link down below and using that promo code SPLASH, getting $30 off for yourself. It's a great way to do it because Unabated helps me put on the show. And I legit would not have done it if it were not for Unabated. Intro hits harder than a blue pill with 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. That sounds like a recipe to die of a heart attack. But that would hit. So I suppose dying of a heart attack technically does mean that something hit pretty well. All right. Your best lines right now for points. Of course, looking at the primary markets here, your pick'em sites, DraftKings and FanDuel. 12.9% EV for Kenrich Williams under 4.5 points. That one is good to go for a lower on Underdog pick'ems. Not available anywhere else for Kenrich Williams. We get that 12.9% EV for Kenrich on Underdog under 4.5 points. Harrison Barnes, old Harry Barnes under 10.5 points today. 12.5% EV. Good to go with minus 115 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. Also good on PrizePicks. 11.1% EV on there. Terry Rozier. Yes, take all unders on Terry Rozier because he's not good at basketball anymore. Terry Rozier under 13.5 points, 10.3% EV for Terry Rozier on PrizePicks, also on Underdog. Not on your main sportsbooks, though. Rozier on your pick'em sites under 13.5 points gets you 10% plus EV. Nikola Jovic under 13.5 points, 9.7% EV on PrizePicks and Underdog. Also bettable on DK Sportsbook, 6.8% EV on there under 13.5. And bettable on FanDuel, the old Grand Slam. 9% EV for Jovic, Nikola Jovic, that is, under 13.5 points at minus 120 odds. But you can bet it anywhere for Nikola Jovic's points under. Corey Kispert under 14.5 points. Good on your pick'em sites, PrizePicks and Underdog. Getting 9.7% EV for Kispert under 14.5 points. DK Sportsbook, 8.8% EV on the under there and 8% EV on FanDuel as well. So another one available on all the main books. What are we doing? You can see the history of Bam Adebayo there in his lines. I don't think we really need that. I'm trying to scroll to the side here. Why would it? Why would it let me scroll? There we go. All right. Trae Young, it's under 28.5 points. Minus 108 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Gets you 8.1% EV. And Vic Krejci, rounded up 8% EV on under 9.5 points for him. Minus 118 odds on FanDuel. Rebounds up next. What I think wins the Super Bowl? The Chiefs, which is not a brave take. Though honestly, looking at it a little bit more, I don't want to give it away what I talked about in my premium video on the NFL channel. I think you make a credible case that the Eagles are one of the worst matchups possible for the Chiefs. Chiefs defense has a lot of potential holes I think the Eagles can fill, much like you can a Grady Dick. So, yeah, my brain... No, you know what? I don't want the Eagles to win, really. My DFS money is going to say Eagles. But I do think the more logical pick is the Chiefs. Like, they're a well-run organization. And sometimes that's what matters. And I don't believe in Nick Sirianni very much. Believe in the coordinators for the Eagles a lot. Do not believe in Nick Sirianni very much. Alex Caruso, under 2.5 rebounds for him. Good to go on PrizePicks with 15.8% EV. Caruso also good to take the under on rebounds on DraftKings. We're getting 12.8% EV. Victor Wembanyama under 11.5 points. Plus 105 odds gets you 11% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook. 10% EV on PrizePicks for under 12 rebounds there. And you don't want it anywhere else. So, but still some Wemby lines here. Under 11.5, under 12 rebounds. Looking good. Jalen Williams under 4 rebounds gets you 10% expected value on DraftKings. Minus 110 odds on there to complete that number. Of course, expected value is just win rate times win amount minus loss rate times loss amount. So knowing the odds is part of that equation. But Jalen Williams on DraftKings, 10% EV for under 4.5 rebounds. Lauri Markkanen under 6.5 rebounds gets you 8.5% EV on FanDuel. A lot of juice on that one, minus 162 odds, but Lauri Markkanen, 8.5% EV for under 6.5 rebounds. Lou Dort, minus 102 odds, under 3.5 rebounds for him. That one gets you 7.6% EV. And Vassell, we're getting a little bit out of range, though. Over 5% is what Unabated says. So if you want to play Vassell and Kessler here, lines on screen, you can. Try to get 8 or higher for the ones on stream, but 5% is what they do back test on. And as we talked about enough times here, Unabated, if you take all their bets 30 minutes before the games tip off, and you take all the bets to 5% or higher sim EV, they've won about $40,000 people that bet $100 per unit. Obviously more like 4K if you bet $10 per unit. So keep that in mind here. Like if you're willing to do the process Unabated, actually use the data and stick with it and do it like nightly, you're going to find gains. So like really the best I could give you for betting as opposed to following bullshit touting on Twitter and whatever. Dyson Daniels under 5 assists on PrizePicks gets you 24.2% EV. Daniels on DraftKings as well, playable under 4.5 assists there, minus 105 odds. FanDuel as well, minus 110 odds. Dyson Daniels, anywhere you can get it, under 5 or under 4.5 assists. Emmanuel Quickly, over 4.5 assists, plus 105 odds, gets you 14.7% EV. Quickly has been a monster without Barrett out there, has had about a 47% assist rate. So taking the over on assists, even with him being lower on minutes here, I think makes sense. And that one's on DraftKings Sportsbook, plus 105 odds. For Quickly, that is, over 4.5 assists. Alex Caruso, under 2.5 assists, good on your pick'em sites, getting 14.2% EV. You could also take Caruso on DraftKings, where you're getting 11.3% EV under 2.5 assists, and not on FanDuel. But Caruso on PrizePicks, Underdog, and DraftKings, take his under on assists. Scotty Barnes, over 5.5 assists, going to have the ball in his hands a lot. Plus 100 odds on FanDuel, 7.4% EV. Scotty Barnes is also going to have to kick the ball out a lot because they're going to get that ball out of his hands as much as they possibly can. So Barnes, I would take that. Okongwu, under on 2.5 assists, you could take. Grady Dick, over 1.5 assists, you could take. SGA, getting a little bit out of range here, under 5.5 assists. Last but not least, our PRAs. And again, more and unabated every single day. I show you a little taste here, much like a crack dealer. I'm sure. Put it under your nose, going, have some of that. But you can go and you can go get the crack yourself. And it's really good crack. It's like we're talking like Breaking Bad crack. We're talking like meth, like crystal blue meth stuff. Like really, I don't think that's how anybody wants their stuff sold. But we got to try different things. They want me to convert better, so we got to do it. There you go. You are back. You're back. Almost worth a mute just for that. We got Kenrich Williams, PRAs under here, under 8.5 PRAs or lower. 8.5 PRAs on Underdog, 18.8% EV for Kenrich Williams on Underdog as one of your best bets right now for PRAs. We got Alex Caruso under 10.5 PRAs, plus 100 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, gets you 18.7% EV. You can also take Caruso under 10.5 PRAs. It's slightly less favorable odds on PrizePicks and Underdog. Jalen Williams under 12.5 PRAs. Take that one as a lower on Underdog, minus 1. Well, the standard odds there for a pick'em on Underdog get you 15.6% EV. Harrison Barnes under 16 PRAs, 10.3% EV on PrizePicks, but Underdog already sharpened up their line, so you can't get it there. Still can get Barnes under 15.5 PRAs on DraftKings. Pick up 9.2% EV for yourself. We got Lou Dort here under 15 PRAs, 10% EV for you on PrizePicks. Not available anywhere else. Haywood Highsmith under 10.5 PRAs, 9.4% EV. He went from being the big winner from Jimmy Butler getting benched to now really not mattering in the rotation again, which is so odd. Under 10.5 PRAs for Highsmith, 9.4% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook. And SGA, an under on SGA. Look, again, you don't want to predict a blowout, but an under because of just them smoking the Raptors in the spot. 9% EV for SGA, under 42.5 PRAs for him. All right, let's do a DFS sim, guys, and we will call it a week here on the Splash Play NBA channel. Let me pull it up here. Pull it up, pull it out, whatever. There's clearly the key difference between those two things. We're going to build 5,000 lineups on Stokastic now, have those compete 10,000 times. You know what it is, guys? We're building a sim here, so we're going to do some whoring in between. Unabated, you just saw. Check it out, $30 off. Link in the description for Unabated, promo code SPLASH on there. And again, it's one of those tools. If you are willing to do the work and place the bets here every day to sim it out, you saw how fast it could be. Place those bets, you'll win money. Like, I'm really confident in that. There are a lot of people that are playing a lot more money than you or I do on a given slate. And they are doing a lot better with Unabated than you would imagine, is what I can tell you. Stokastic, you're going to show you right now all the data, all the tools, 15% off. Promo code SPLASH on there. So check it out for yourself. Of course, you can see me running the projections here right now. See Stokastic's data. So make it as easy as possible for you guys. And they work fast, which I think is a big positive. If you are in this world of NBA where shit changes every minute, last minute. And of course, Underdog as well. Super Bowl coming up. Check it out. Of course, Unabated's got great Super Bowl data for pick'ems like on Underdog. But check it out here. Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash. Promo code SPLASH. Pull out all the Grady Dick. There we go. That's not cool. That's not cool. I got to give you a timeout for that one. Don't be like, why? I can't be more clear like that. I like one of my better friends in the industry. Don't be fucking shitty. Like, I don't care if you want to be like, want to not like a guy, but don't do that. That's like real classless. Jesus Christ, guys. It's just the internet. Just the internet. It's somebody you watch every day. Why be that hateful? And Josh can handle the jokes, but it's like, why do that? That's like low class. I'll say it, even if he wouldn't. But you know me, guys. I care about civility. I just like unbelievable. The shit. Like, would you say that to somebody's face, man? Like, that's unbelievable. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Stokastic updated their data at 4:30, so everything should be all cut up here. Nothing I have to kind of be annoying about. Yes, talk dick, not hate. There we go. Talk dick, suck dick, whatever you need to do. Put something in that mouth if you're going to say shit like that. Jesus Christ. Jordan Poole, Bub Carrington, Jalen Williams, Justin Champagny, Victor Wembanyama, Ty Jerome coming in here, Jonathan Mobo, Joel Embiid. So your Jerome Mobo value in play. You're getting Bub Carrington. Stokastic giving him a vouch here. The top ROI lineup. But that's the highest ROI lineup right now, according to Stokastic data. Again, mine not affecting this at all, just all Stokastic stuff. We got Ty Jerome, Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George, Jonathan Mobo, Jarrett Allen, SGA, Jalen Williams, and Joel Embiid. I feel like if you're going to play SGA and Jalen Williams together, you probably need a Raptor on that way back there who isn't Jonathan Mobo, who would actually matter for keeping that game close. But SGA, Jalen Williams in this lineup here, that would have to be such a royal ass kicking of the Raptors where it all comes entirely through the two best players. And that just never really happens in those kind of, complete blowout ass kickings. Number 3, Ty Jerome again, getting a little Grady Dick in this one. Oscar Thompson, Giannis, again, assuming that he plays. Kel'el Ware, Jamal Shed, Nikola Jovic, and Joel Embiid. So Joel Embiid in all these lineups so far for Stokastic. Bub Carrington again, a.k.a. Carlton for his non-friends. De'Aaron Fox, Keyshawn George, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Yuko Okongwu, who I do like a lot, as I mentioned. Ty Jerome, Nikola Jovic, Jalen Duren. At number 5, you have Jordan Poole, Bub Carrington, Oscar Thompson, Nikola Jovic, Jalen Duren, Cade Cunningham, Chris Boucher, and Joel Embiid. That is it's a lot of Bub Carrington. That's the thing that stands out the most to me, man. Bub Carrington is not that good, unfortunately, at this time of the game. Do we officially get Brogdon out during the show? I feel like I'm just curious to see if that's why maybe Bub's coming up more. No, looks like he's still a Q tag, unless somebody wants to correct me here. Checking the injury report as well. I'm just surprised to see that much Bub Carrington. He is cheap. He was downgraded earlier. All right, let me just confirm here. Well, he's downgraded to questionable. He's not like out. So that's weird. I don't think you get, okay, thank you guys. I don't think you get this much Bub if Brogdon's in. So I'm confused by that. But anyway, it's a lot of Bub Carrington is all I'm going to say. Onyeka Okongwu, technically your highest ROI guy. Don't worry about the negative numbers here. It's about the directional accuracy of the sim. It's telling you who's the highest ROI guys. We have Onyeka Okongwu, negative 1% ROI for him. Ty Jerome, number 2 at a negative 2.2% ROI. Asar Thompson, negative 5% ROI as a number 3. I am surprised to see Asar here because that's not a name I've heard anybody talk about at all today, myself included in my brain. Jalen Williams, negative 6% ROI rounded up. Joel Embiid, a slightly worse negative 6% ROI rounded up. Jamal Shed is right behind these guys in terms of ROI. Nikola Jovic right behind him at negative 7.5% ROI. Your highest exposure guys, number 1's Jonathan Mobo, 73% overall compared to the field's 47. So about 26% leverage positively on Mobo here. They want you to get a lot. Bub Carrington in 67% of lineups. So that is a whole lot of Bub Carrington. LaMelo Ball at shoot around right now. Okay, good to know. So Bub Carrington, the field's going to be there a lot. Stokastic still wants you to get slightly more. Joel Embiid, field's going to be there a lot as well. 40% ownership projection for Embiid. Do people really want to play that much Embiid? I know he had a good game last time out. I believe he had a triple-double. Like at a certain point, Paul George kind of has to assert himself too. Anyway, I'm not getting Embiid much naturally projection-wise, or not this much. But they want you to get 2/3 of your lineups with Joel Embiid. Ty Jerome, give me 2x the field on that. Ty Jerome, 55% in the top 150 for Stokastic, 27% for the field. Onyeka Okongwu, yes, more of that, 37%, 14% for the field. Big rate jumps, as I mentioned earlier, with DeAndre Hunter and Jalen Johnson being after that team, along with a bunch of other guys, Bogdanovich included. Giannis, they're lower on here than the field, 37% compared to 43%. And Keyshawn George, 33% compared to 28%. Rather play Koulibaly over Carrington? Absolutely, but Bub Carrington's 3,300, so you got to keep in mind the price point does matter quite a bit. Highest leverage guys here. You're getting 27% more Ty Jerome than the field. My boy, love Ty Jerome. Wouldn't lock him, but I do think he should be in more lineups than not of yours. Joel Embiid, I don't feel strongly here about him. 26% leverage for him, so you're number 2 above the field guy. Jonathan Mobo, you're getting a similar amount above the field as Embiid. Onyeka Okongwu, 23% more than the field. Nikola Jovic, 9% more. Jalen Williams, rounded up 9% more, so pretty big stand in favor of single-digit ownership on Jalen Williams. And Asar Thompson, 6% more than the field. And last but not least, your lowest leverage plays. Kyle Kuzma in his presumptive debut. We'll see if he actually plays. Negative 18% leverage here. They don't want you to play him. Tristan Vukovic will change a lot here if you get Rashawn Holmes out. But Tristan Vukovic, they want you to get less in the field now at a $3K minimum salary. Getting 18% less in the field. Trae Young, negative 16% leverage. Jacoby Walter, negative 7%. Giannis, negative 6.5%. Still getting a lot of them, though. Bam Adebayo, negative 6%. And Jalen Tyson getting negative 5%. Man, he's apparently getting chalkier now. They must move the minutes to give Jalen Tyson a few more. So that's the Stokastic view on things. I will give you guys my splash plays for the day in one moment. Before I do, though, you guys know the deal. Please subscribe down below. About 60 to 65% of people that are watching this channel aren't subscribed. Then what are you doing? Please, you got to help out the little guys like me. Even though I am technically a large man, I'm in fact a little guy in the YouTube space, but I show up here and do the work every day as best I can. No matter what data is available, what data is not available. I figure it out here and give you guys my takes as intelligently as I possibly can every day. I try to not call you a moron, even if you're being a moron. I might mute you. But I still won't call you a moron, and that's the promise here. But really, though, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button here. I will show up and give you guys my best NBA foot forward here every day at 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash. Again, no sweat entry for Underdog as well. The Super Bowl. So if you want to do a pick 'em on there, get a shot there. If you do lose, they give you your money back as a bonus credit. So keep that in mind. But check out Underdog. Use promo code SPLASH on there. Stokastic, 15% off promo code SPLASH. Link in the description. Right now, it's been a good start to the month. So please, for the love of God, check out Stokastic as well. Do a great job with all their tools, making it as idiot-proof as possible to build good lineups. And Unabated, get an idiot-proof ways to get good bets. Everything I do is trying to be idiot-proof. But Unabated, go check it out. Place your bets 30 minutes before tip-off. Place them when the projections first come out. You will win money for yourself as long as you follow that, stick with it, hit the bigger sample size for yourself using great data and Unabated. So check it out, $30 off. Promo code SPLASH at unabated.com/NBA, or click the link in the description. Splash plays for the day. If you get Rashawn Holmes out, it's Tristan Vukovic. If you get Rashawn Holmes in, Holmes and Vukovic should be played. I would say similar amounts. You should play Holmes more, but I would try to get a share of both. Vukovic is just like a legit big man who takes usage, gets rebounds, does some stuff, might get a few threes up potentially. So I think those guys, the center spot for Washington, really important on the slate. Ty Jerome, no surprise here, priority play in terms of your value stuff. Jonathan Mobo, another priority play. Okongwu, I think a slightly pair-up option there. Still looks like a good value to me. Averaging 1.3 fantasy points a minute for him in court time without Hunter and without Jalen Johnson. Like, he absorbs a lot of that kind of freewheeling usage those two guys had. Okongwu, I think, is a different player here at 6,300. I think he should be a big part of what you're doing tonight. Koulibaly, I like a lot as well. Low on Bub Carrington. Trying to think if there's anything else. Pay-up guys? Any pay-up guys I want to cape for? Giannis, if he plays. If he doesn't play, any buck you have. If you get Giannis and Middleton out, or Giannis and Kuzma out, because Middleton's also out, play anybody from the Bucks. I think that's sort of the main thing I give you guys for the slate right now, barring wacky shit that's going to happen. But I appreciate you guys being here for another week. Hit that subscribe button before you go, with the like button. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Check out my video on the Splash Play NFL channel at Splash Play Pod. If you want to see my takes for the showdown slate, along with some best bet stuff I ran as well. Gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on the Splash Play channels. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play NBA or at Splash Play Pod. And I'll be back tomorrow with more, guys. I'm not fucking no chance I'm back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with my kid. Back on Monday with more. Back on Sunday at 9 a.m. on the NFL channel with more. I'll see you guys then. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend. See ya.